Hinsdale House.
The house is in the middle of nowhere at the end of a dead-end street. And as you can see, it looks pretty creepy. But that's not what has had people talking about it for years. What people talk about is what many say is inside, lurking in the shadows.
The Hinsdale House haunting when sanctuary becomes hell.
But the one that made it most famous was a story in the 1970s. A family had moved in and started having poltergeist-like activity in the...
Scene 1. A family's dream becomes their nightmare. It's 1971 in the remote hills of Hinsdale, New York, where the enchanted mountains stretch endlessly under a canopy of ancient trees. The Dandy family, Clara, Phil, and their children have just moved into what they believed would be their dream home, a secluded farmhouse at 3830 McMahon Road, where they could escape the chaos of modern life and find peace. But as autumn leaves began to fall and the nights grew longer, they discovered that some dreams can quickly transform into living nightmares. The first sign came as whispers in the walls, soft at first, like the house itself was breathing. Then came the footsteps deliberate, heavy, echoing through empty hallways at 3 a.m. Clara would lie awake, her heart pounding, listening to the sound of someone walking upstairs when everyone was asleep downstairs. The children complained of shadows moving in their peripheral vision, and Phil, a practical man, found himself questioning his own sanity as objects moved without explanation. What began as subtle disturbances soon escalated into something far more sinister, something that would force a family to flee their home and leave behind one of the most documented hauntings in American history. Welcome to Legends Unveiled, where we explore the mysteries that defy explanation. Tonight, we venture into the heart of Western New York's most terrifying haunting, the Hinsdale House, where a family's sanctuary became a battleground between the living and the dead. Scene 2. The Dandys and their sanctuary, a family seeking peace. For Clara, who had always been drawn to the spiritual side of life, the rural setting felt like a place where she could connect with nature and find inner peace. Phil, more pragmatic in his approach, saw it as an opportunity to provide his family with space to grow and thrive. The house itself was unremarkable, a two-story wooden structure that had weathered decades of harsh New York winters. Previous owners had come and gone, but the Dandys were determined to make it their permanent home. They settled in with hopes of building memories that would last a lifetime, but the house had different plans. Almost immediately, the family began experiencing phenomena that defied rational explanation. Clara, who had always been sensitive to spiritual energies, was the first to notice the changes. She spoke of feeling watched, of sensing presences that seemed to move through the house like shadows given form. The children, Beth and her siblings, initially dismissed the strange occurrences as typical old house noises, creaking floorboards, settling foundations, wind through the eaves. But as days turned into weeks, the disturbances became impossible to ignore. Beth would later describe seeing a young woman with piercing eyes and dark hair walking through the house, appearing and disappearing without warning. The family's pets behaved erratically, refusing to enter certain rooms and cowering in corners as if sensing something humans couldn't perceive. Scene 3. The haunting begins. When the ordinary becomes extraordinary. As the Dandys settled into their new home, the paranormal activity intensified with each passing day. What had started as subtle whispers and unexplained footsteps evolved into a full-scale supernatural assault on the family's peace of mind. Clara documented these experiences meticulously, keeping detailed records that would later become the foundation for her book, Echoes of a Haunting. Her accounts describe a house that seemed to pulse with otherworldly energy, where the boundary between the living and the dead had become dangerously thin. The phenomena were diverse and relentless. Objects would move on their own, sliding across tables or flying through the air without any visible force propelling them. Doors would slam shut with tremendous force, even when no wind was present. The family reported hearing disembodied voices calling their names, sometimes pleading, sometimes threatening. Strange, unexplainable scents would fill rooms, sometimes pleasant like flowers, other times putrid and nauseating. The temperature would drop suddenly in specific areas of the house, creating cold spots that defied any logical explanation. Most disturbing were the physical manifestations that seemed to target the family directly. Clara reported seeing full-bodied apparitions, including a woman who seemed to dance through the house as if unaware of the living family sharing the space. The children complained of being touched by invisible hands, of feeling their blankets pulled off during the night, and of hearing disembodied chanting that seemed to come from within the walls themselves. Phil, skeptical at first, became a believer when he witnessed furniture rearranging itself and experienced an overwhelming sense of confusion and oppression that would descend upon the house without warning. The family's sleep became fractured, their daily routines disrupted by the constant presence of entities that seemed to grow stronger and more aggressive with each passing day. Scene 4, Desperation and Divine Intervention, The Exorcism. By 1974, the Dandy family had endured 3 years of relentless paranormal activity. The situation had become unbearable, affecting every aspect of their lives. The children were afraid to sleep alone. Clara's health was suffering from the constant stress, and Phil found himself questioning everything he had believed about the nature of reality. Desperate for relief, the family reached out to Father Alphonsus Trabold, a respected priest from St. Bonaventure University who had experience with cases of suspected demonic possession and supernatural disturbances. Father Trabold, known for his scholarly approach to the paranormal, initially approached the case with healthy skepticism. However, after spending time in the house and witnessing the phenomena firsthand, he became convinced that the Dandys were dealing with something beyond conventional explanation. The priest documented his observations carefully, noting that the disturbances seemed to be connected to the land itself rather than just the house. He spoke of sensing multiple presences, some seemingly benign, but others distinctly malevolent. The decision to perform an exorcism was not taken lightly. Father Trabold conducted what he called a structural exorcism, blessing the house and attempting to cleanse it of whatever dark forces had taken residence. The ritual was intense and emotionally draining for everyone involved. During the exorcism, the activity seemed to intensify dramatically, as if the entities were fighting back against the religious intervention. Windows rattled, temperatures fluctuated wildly, and the family reported feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them. However, what happened next would prove that some spiritual battles are not easily won. Rather than bringing peace, the exorcism seemed to anger whatever inhabited the house, and the paranormal activity returned with a vengeance that was far worse than anything they had experienced before. Scene 5. Temporary peace and ultimate departure. The haunting returns. The exorcism performed by Father Trabold brought the Dandy family a brief respite from the supernatural torment that had plagued their lives. For several months, the house remained quiet, and the family began to hope that their nightmare was finally over. The children slept peacefully, Clara's health improved, and Phil allowed himself to believe that they could finally build the life they had dreamed of in their rural sanctuary. However, this peace would prove to be only temporary, as the forces that had been driven away seemed to be gathering strength for their return. Gradually, the phenomena began to manifest again, starting with subtle signs that the family had learned to recognize. The whispers returned, softer at first, but gradually growing more insistent. Objects began moving again, and the familiar cold spots reappeared throughout the house. But this time, the activity seemed more focused, more personal, as if the entities had learned from their previous encounters with the family. The presences seemed to target specific family members, with Clara bearing the brunt of the renewed assault. The psychological toll on the family was devastating. Having experienced a period of peace, the return of the haunting felt like a cruel betrayal. Clara documented this period as the most difficult of their entire ordeal, describing a sense of hopelessness that permeated every aspect of their daily lives. The children, who had begun to heal from their earlier trauma, were once again living in fear. By 1975, after 4 years of battling the unknown, the Dandy family made the difficult decision to abandon their dream home and start over elsewhere. Scene 6. Theories and Interpretations. What haunts the Hinsdale House? The Hinsdale House haunting has attracted numerous theories from paranormal investigators, skeptics, and researchers attempting to explain the extraordinary events experienced by the Dandy family. Each theory offers a different lens through which to view the phenomena, but none provides a complete explanation for the breadth and intensity of the reported activity. Many paranormal investigators believe the Hinsdale House is the site of a residual haunting, where traumatic events from the past have left an imprint on the location. This theory suggests that the house and surrounding land have absorbed emotional energy from previous tragedies, creating a loop of supernatural activity that replays regardless of who occupies the space. The fact that multiple families have reported similar experiences supports this interpretation. Some researchers propose that the house is inhabited by intelligent spirits who are aware of and interact with the living occupants. Clara's descriptions of the dancing woman and the various apparitions suggest entities with distinct personalities and motivations. This theory is supported by the seemingly interactive nature of the phenomena and the spirit's apparent response to the family's presence and emotions. Skeptics point to the house's location in an area known for unusual geological formations, including limestone caves and underground water systems. Some researchers suggest that electromagnetic fields generated by these geological features could create hallucinatory experiences or influence sensitive individuals to perceive paranormal activity where none exists. Another skeptical approach suggests that the family's experiences were the result of psychological factors, including stress, isolation, and the power of suggestion. Living in a remote location with limited outside contact could have created conditions where normal house noises and coincidences were interpreted as supernatural phenomena. Scene 7. The Warren Connection and Modern Investigations. Legacy of the Haunting. The Hinsdale House gained international attention when it came to the attention of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the legendary paranormal investigators whose cases inspired films like the Conjuring series. The Warrens visited the property and documented their own experiences, adding significant credibility to the claims of supernatural activity. Their investigation revealed what they believed to be multiple entities inhabiting not just the house, but the entire property, some of whom they classified as potentially dangerous. The Warrens' endorsement brought the case to national prominence and established the Hinsdale House as one of America's most documented haunted locations. Following the Dandy's departure, the house changed hands several times, but reports of paranormal activity persisted with remarkable consistency. The property's reputation grew, and in 2006, the Discovery Channel featured the house in an episode of A Haunting, bringing the story to millions of viewers and cementing its place in paranormal history. The house eventually fell into disrepair, standing empty for years as local residents spread stories about the cursed property. However, the story took a dramatic new turn when Daniel Claes, a lifelong paranormal investigator who had been raised in a haunted house himself, purchased the property with the specific intention of preserving it as a research facility. Under Claes's ownership, the Hinsdale House has become a destination for paranormal investigators from around the world, with visitors coming from 6 different countries in recent years. The house was featured on Destination America's Paranormal Lockdown in 2016, where seasoned investigators Nick Groff and Katrina Weidman spent 72 grueling hours living in and investigating the notorious location. During their investigation, they experienced a range of activity that even shocked these veteran investigators, including disembodied chanting, violent banging, and an overwhelming sense of confusion and oppression that seemed to cloud their very thoughts. Modern paranormal investigation teams continue to use advanced equipment to document unexplained phenomena, capturing electronic voice phenomena, dramatic temperature fluctuations, and electromagnetic anomalies that defy conventional explanation. Scene 8. The enduring mystery, questions that remain. Over 50 years have passed since the Dandy family first encountered the supernatural forces that would ultimately drive them from their home. Yet the Hinsdale House continues to generate new stories and experiences. Clara Miller, Dandy's book, Echoes of a Haunting, remains the definitive account of the family's ordeal, providing a detailed chronicle of their 4-year battle with the unknown. Her courage in documenting and sharing their story has helped validate the experiences of countless others who have encountered similar phenomena. The house stands today as a testament to the enduring mystery of the paranormal. Under Daniel Claes's care, it has been restored to a functional state while preserving its historical significance as one of New York's most documented haunted locations. Visitors from around the world come to experience the phenomena for themselves, and many leave convinced that something extraordinary resides within those walls. The consistency of reports across different families, investigators, and time periods suggests that whatever haunts the Hinsdale House is not merely the product of imagination or folklore. What makes the Hinsdale House particularly compelling is not just the intensity of the reported phenomena, but the credibility of the witnesses. The Dandy family were ordinary people seeking a quiet life, not attention seekers or paranormal enthusiasts. Father Trabold was a respected academic and religious figure with no motivation to fabricate stories. The Warrens, despite their controversial reputation, were experienced investigators who had encountered numerous hoaxes and could distinguish between genuine and manufactured phenomena. Scene 9. Conclusion, where the living and dead collide. The Hinsdale House haunting represents one of the most thoroughly documented cases of paranormal activity in American history. Unlike many ghost stories that rely on folklore and second-hand accounts, the Dandy family's experience was recorded in real time by credible witnesses and investigated by respected paranormal researchers. The consistency of reports across multiple decades and different occupants suggests that something genuinely extraordinary occurs within the walls of this remote farmhouse. Whether you believe in the supernatural or approach such stories with skepticism, the Hinsdale House challenges our understanding of reality and the nature of existence itself. Perhaps the house serves as a window into dimensions we cannot fully comprehend, or maybe it demonstrates the power of belief to create experiences that feel absolutely real to those who encounter them. What cannot be disputed is the profound impact the house has had on everyone who has lived there or investigated its mysteries. The Dandy family's courage in sharing their story has opened doors for others to explore the boundaries between the known and unknown. Their experience reminds us that there are still mysteries in our world that science cannot fully explain, places where the ordinary rules of reality seem to bend or break entirely. In the remote hills of western New York, where ancient forests whisper secrets and shadows dance in empty rooms, the Hinsdale House continues to guard its supernatural secrets, waiting for the next brave soul to cross its threshold and discover what lies beyond the veil between worlds. What do you think? Could the Hinsdale House truly be a gateway between our world and the realm of the dead, or is there a more earthly explanation for the decades of reported phenomena? Share your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more explorations into the unknown. Right here on Legends Unveiled, we continue to seek the truth behind the world's most enduring mysteries.